Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. Hopkins County young ladies that are going into their junior year of high school in August of 2017 and would like to participate in the 2017 Fall Festival Cover Girl contest need to pick up their packets to submit them by noon Friday. Qualifications for competing are in the packets and can be picked up at the Civic Center. When you turn in the packet, you will need to turn in the packet plus $30 entry fee, application, and a clear printable headshot picture. Pictures will be used for the Fall Festival brochure. The deadline to have everything turned in again is noon on Friday at the Civic Center office. Only 10 will be accepted to compete for Cover Girl. No one will be accepted after the noon deadline. It began with a Hopkins County investigator finding stolen articles for sale online. It ended with one arrest in a pasture and another arrest at the residence where the stolen items from 5 or 6 burglaries in the south part of the county were found when deputies were serving an arrest warrant, according to Sheriff Lewis Tatum.
Investigator Corley Weatherford, over the weekend, while off duty, I think he was even babysitting, located a hay dolly believed to be stolen, and once they was able to get closer to it and identify it, it was proven to be stolen out of one of our burglaries. Then they started working on several other burglaries, got a search warrant, searched the house, and located stuff from I believe we've cleared up 3 burglaries now, and I believe they just now located a pistol and an air breather of a car that was impounded earlier from the subject. They were looking for the subject. They got a warrant on him. His name is Jeffrey Moyer. He's out of Caddo Mills, 1992 model. And they were looking for him this morning. Shay Shaw, deputy, got located him in the southern part of the county in a pursuit. Ensued after that, going down county roads and state highways and through people's pastures and over their fences, and one subject jumped out of the vehicle, turned himself into the authorities, and the Jeffrey Moyer finally did bail out on foot, and he was caught by another officer, deputy named Davis. He chased him down, and he's in custody now. But we're going to clear up at least 3 burglaries, and we're hoping that we can find the items from a few more.
Hey, was any of this, Lewis, related to the recovery of some property yesterday in Como where Investigator Finley and Deputy Evans went to serve an arrest warrant and found stolen property out in a carport and then subsequently threw out the house?
Yes, it is. That's it. It's actually off of 154. These burglars, they come up and they hit us several times till we get to figure out who the subjects are when they're not from here, and it just takes a few days, and thankfully the officers, like always, got on it quick and got them shut down.
How long was the chase? How long did it take?
It was several minutes. It's probably around 10 minutes. Now I know that don't seem like long, but it is. When you're going down county roads and through pastures and running through people's fences, it goes a pretty good, it takes a pretty good time, but Shay Shaw was able to stay with him, and when he got out on foot, then Davis was able to chase him down on foot.
You say this gentleman's from Caddo Mills. Mm-hmm. Does he live there, or is he actually living
well,
in the county?
He's from the Caddo Mills area. He was living on 154 South. And we've been watching, we've had a couple disturbances down there, and kind of thought it was kind of strange, and then all of a sudden Investigator Weatherford was able to locate that in his possession this weekend. I actually think he was trying to sell it on the internet, and of course, that's Investigator Weatherford's deal, is that internet. He's good on them computers, and he found it real quick, and we just carried on from there, and they.
Okay, you said there were 2 people involved. now.
Well, there were two people involved in the pursuit. The other one jumped out of the vehicle and turned himself over to authorities.
Do you think these are the only two individuals?
I don't believe that. I don't know if the other subject was involved in the burglaries at all. I think he just happened to be in the car at the time and wanted out, which is probably a pretty smart thing.
Okay, you mentioned Moyer, I believe.
Yes.
You have another person in custody in this as well?
Well, we do, but we haven't charged her yet. We're trying to get all those loose ends sorted out. It's going to take a little while. Their investigators are all working on it right now.
Davis was arrested when the deputies searched the house for malware. On the bedside table, a tinted plastic baggie containing suspected methamphetamine was found. Davis was arrested. Both Maurer and Davis are in Hopkins County Jail. For Davis, this is not her first stay. She was indicted in April for engaging in organized criminal activity. Her early arrest came in when law enforcement responded to a call and deputies heard a possible verbal disturbance in a residence. They found in plain view in that residence a crystal-like substance believed to be methamphetamine. The location for that arrest was in a drug-free school zone. Maurer is in Hopkins County Jail charged with tamper, fabricate physical evidence with intent to impair, and possession of a controlled substance less than 28 grams. He will be charged with burglary as well. Davis is charged with possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram. When the Sulphur Springs Corvette Club donation of 30 fans was received at the Senior Citizens Building, there are now 89 fans collected in the Hopkins County Sulphur Springs Senior Adult Fan Drive. 51 fans have been placed thus far. There are now 38 fans available for needy seniors. Any senior adult in need of a fan may call 903-885-1661.
Well, I won't say that she's the bee queen, but we had a visit from Mary Smith, who's the president of the Wood County Beekeepers Association, to tell us about their Save the Bees campaign.
For 3 weeks, we have had a hive painting contest. We had 10 area artists who painted hives. I don't know if you can see those, but they were all very imaginative and really cool. So for 3 weekends, visitors to the farmers market voted. And it's kind of a lax voting. You could vote every weekend, and I'm sure people voted more than once for their favorite. But we did, on the last weekend, announce our winners. In fact, the hive I brought here last time was the winner. It's this one in the front. Foremost. Kind of a graffiti theme. They have little sayings on that. David Cormican and Sue Ellen Lair collaborated on that one. You can't really see these here. Margaret Iguchi won second place, and Michelle Himes won third place. So they each got a cash prize. But then we sold all of these in a silent auction to benefit the Wood County beekeepers, to help educate beekeepers, help educate people in the area about the importance of bees.
And that's all those things are what we want to talk about. Now, the Wood County Beekeepers put on this 3-weekend event for the voting for the winners to see which hives people like the best and to just get their interest. Fundraising, as you mentioned, demonstrations with using live bees, and a little bit of a membership drive too, because you may find interested people, and raising awareness.
I think our big thing is raising awareness. The fundraising just helps us keep doing that. But if you've turned on the news anytime in the last few years, you've heard that bees are endangered. This is actually National Pollinator Week, and honeybees are a very important pollinator. They're so efficient, and they're so, each colony has 50, 60,000 bees in it, so they're pretty efficient about pollinating. But this week is also a celebration of butterflies and hummingbirds and beetles and all the other native bees. We have a lot of native bees, the bumblebees and the mason bees and carpenter bees.
All of these do a job of pollinating.
They're all pollinating. Something like 75% of all the plants in the United States need insect pollination. So they're all important. And the honeybee comes to the forefront because there's so many people who make a living with their pollination services and raising honey and beeswax. But the native bees and pollinators, the butterflies, have the same problems. They're weakened by the pesticides used on the plants. There's a lack of forage. They can't find enough flowering plants and nectar, so it becomes an issue.
Well, I was thinking about those areas, you know, of our perimeters of our property that maybe we don't mow, and they're growing up and they're blooming the hedges, and you may feel badly that you haven't taken care of that, but you may be really helping out the bees.
I have to admit, before I started raising bees, we cleared brushy fence lines, and I can't tell you how many things we cut down. But when you have an analysis for honey in this area, they do that by testing the pollen in the honey so they can see what flowers the bees visited. And what you'll find is a whole lot of privet, poison ivy, rattan vine. All these things that you consider really nasty weeds actually are a good source of food for bees and other pollinators.
And turning into food for us. So you have brought a jar of honey from Laughing Flowers Farm, raw honey. And you mentioned that this has not yet been tested as far as the pollination, but you have submitted that.
Yes, it is. Not all beekeepers bother. It's a $60 test that you send to A&M. But I'm curious to see where my bees are going. Bees will travel 2 miles in any direction. So just because you live somewhere doesn't mean they're not going to your neighbors or someone else. Someone asked me the other day how much land it took to keep bees. And there are people who put beehives on apartment balconies.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take a lot. It's not like livestock that you fence in. They go wherever they feel like.
Sure they do. And this jar of honey that you have brought, it has the honeycomb in it?
It has honeycomb in it, yes.
Beautiful. And what is the advantage of leaving that in there?
Well, first of all, it tells you that it's real honey. So much of what you buy in the grocery store is shipped in. Only like a third of all the honey consumed in the United States is actually produced in the United States. Most of it is imported, and some of it is adulterated with corn syrup and other things. And
so when this is raw honey, it's not heated, it's not overly heated?
It's not heated. So it doesn't kill any of the good bacteria or the enzymes in it. It is strained, but it's not filtered.
Okay.
When they filter, they heat it and they force it through a really fine membrane to get all the pollen and all the good stuff out of it. So we just strain it to clean it up. I'm sorry?
This little thing, is this the best thing to serve honey with?
Well, squeeze bottles are nice. They work, and anything works. But what this does is it just gets a good glump of honey so that you put it on your mouth. I don't know if glump is a word, but it works really good when you're getting it out of a jar like that. The honeycomb you can pull out. You can eat right off. Eat the honeycomb. You can eat the wax. It's fully digestible. Or, chew it up like gum. It doesn't hurt you in any way. And
I remember trying that when I was a kid. So besides honey, you make beeswax products.
Right. People think of it as the byproduct, but actually wax is more valuable than the honey is. And there's a limited amount. The bees only make wax when they feel like it. It's hard to convince them to do it when they're not ready. And they have little glands on their stomach where they secrete tiny flakes of wax. And because it has such a low melting point, they can just warm it up and shape it and make their hive out of it.
Amazing, so amazing. So what products do we use? I mean, what do we use beeswax for?
Oh, you can. My husband loves to tell anyone that if you use WD-40 on anything, you can replace it with beeswax, and it will last much longer, and it smells good. It's used in a lot of cosmetics. Okay. It's used, of course, in candles. Very seldom do you find true 100% beeswax candles, but they burn longer and cleaner, and they don't put the paraffins and the bad things in the air that you're breathing. Bicyclists use it on their bicycle chains. Okay. Bow hunters use it on their bows. Okay. I've good guitar strings. Anything you want to coat with a little bit of a wax.
So it's a really refined product, really, and all natural.
Right.
So, back to your bees or your farm. In fact, you're wearing a bee T-shirt.
I am wearing real Texas honey.
Okay.
The Texas Beekeepers Association, the state group of beekeepers, has just formed a new nonprofit to educate people about honey and to promote Texas honey, because there's such a small amount of honey produced in this state compared to how much we consume. Okay. So if you're going to buy honey, they want to promote Texas honey, which is going to be natural and support the Texas beekeepers.
Okay. Which your Winsboro group or Wood County group is a part of.
Yes, we're a chapter of the Texas Beekeepers Association.
You have 50-some members, and probably you have more members who are more the core group, and then you have a rest of your membership. And many of them helped in your 3-weekend event through the Winsboro Farmers Market.
Yes, we had a lot of help, I have to say. I hate to mention everybody by name because I'm going to forget somebody and they're going to be mad at me. But we had a lot of help. Just the children made antennas out of pipe cleaners, so all the kids were running around with antennas, as was I, much to my husband's embarrassment. We had a live observation hive, which is a couple frames of bees behind glass, so you can watch them. So we had volunteers who were explaining to people what the bees were doing and what it looked like in the hive. And then we did a honey extraction demonstration, which required a little help too. We did that at the depot. You need to do that indoors because honeybees send out scouts to find food sources, to find good nectar and pollen. And if one bee found your honey outside, in 20 minutes you would have thousands of bees. So we always extract our honey indoors where we're not surrounded by all the bees who come to steal the honey.
How do they steal it?
One little lick at a time. Just like they would gather nectar, they have a special crop, a special stomach. It's not their digestive stomach, but a special stomach that they store any liquid in, water if they're gathering water, or nectar, or the finished product, honey. And then they take it back to the hive and it gets put into cells and saved.
That is so amazing.
It is amazing.
And the dance that they do, is this a real thing?
Yes, it is. They send out scout bees to find whatever they're looking for. If it's water in the summertime, which, by the way, if you see them in your swimming pool or your bird bath, that's how they cool their hive. They use evaporative cooling. But they send out scout bees who come back and they do what they call a waggle dance. And depending on how vigorously they shake their bodies, they kind of wiggle. They go in a circle left or they go in a circle to the right, and how many times they do it and how vigorously they do it then they give everybody a taste of what they brought back so they know what it tastes like. And basically they navigate by the sun, and their dance and the motions in their waggle dance tell the other bees where that honey source is. Located by the sun, you fly a mile this way, and this is what it tastes like, so this is what you're looking for. And those bees will come back, and it's amazing.
How do they send their messages to the workers or the scouts of what now it is time to look for? Do they just seem to know what the need is?
Well, the scouts, of course, are looking for, the first thing they see is color. Bees don't see red, but they see other colors. And then they fly in and check it out. Then they sense the smell of a flower, and they taste it, and they just judge whether this is one flower or a whole field of flowers. And they're always working, the busy as a bee, they're always harvesting nectar to make into honey. The reason we can harvest honey is their food, but they make more honey than they could ever use, so that's where we get to benefit from the honey. They all produce pheromones, different scents that tell them danger. We have a queen and everything is fine. They have a lot of different scents that they get from their antenna, from touching each other. And then, they do their waggle dance, and they're doing this all in total darkness because their hive is totally dark.
I see.
So,
and something you said earlier that says we only a two-mile radius or so is the reason why beekeepers move their hives to better territory. But you know what? It's been so fascinating, and we're just about out of time.
Well, I'm sorry. It's always fun to talk about bees, and I can get carried away.
There's never enough time to say it all about bees. Thank you, Mary Smith, for coming in and all the work that the Wood County Beekeepers Association does.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for the jar of honey here.
Here's Don Julian with sports.
The ups and downs of attendance at the Edge conditioning program this year are typical and par for the course, according to Wildcats head football coach and athletic director Greg Owens. His observation is based on 26 years' experience offering the Edge. The first 3 days of the Edge this year, last week, saw around 200 athletes participate each day. Numbers were not very good last Thursday and this Monday, according to Coach Owens. He said numbers were back up Tuesday and were good. Coach Owens said there were a variety of reasons for declines Thursday and Monday, including some testing going on Monday, kids on vacation, vacation Bible schools at churches, and summer camps. For the most part, Coach Owens said he knows where players are who are not at the Edge. He acknowledged that some players were just skipping it, and he added effort would be made to get them to attend. Coach Owens said he was encouraged by the athletes who are attending and reiterated that if they are not there, he encourages them to get involved.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.